Not everybody just wants their child or their family member to be a musician. So I had to prove to them. That's why I said I had to prove to them I make the music on my own. I was even the years I was even doing music, nobody even knew at my house what I was doing. They used to hear music coming from my room shower. They didn't know it was even mine. You understand? So it's just about proving yourself. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen, but I knew it was gonna happen, but I didn't think it was gonna happen this fast. So just thank God. I think what happened, I was just working every day, but I was not giving myself time to what is next. So that's what happened. Doing shows, relating with people. This young guy. Now I have to prove myself now. You know what I'm saying? I have to prove myself.
David Adedeji Adeleke, a name that resonates across Africa, across continents, across cultures. But tonight, in this story, let's just call him Davido. He was born on November 21st, 1992, in Atlanta, Georgia, a city alive with sound, soul, and history. But Davido wasn't born into struggle. He was born into privilege, a kind of privilege that most people can't even imagine. His father, Dr. Adedeji Adeleke, was and still is one of Nigeria's most successful businessmen, a billionaire, the founder and CEO of Pacific Holdings, a company with its hands in oil, energy, banking, agriculture, and real estate. His mother, Veronica Adeleke, was a university lecturer, but beyond her academic robes, she was a woman of music, a quiet lover of melodies and harmony, something her youngest child would inherit in a way no one could predict. Though his certificate says Atlanta, Davido grew up from American suburbia. He was raised in Lagos, Nigeria, in luxury, yes, but also in expectation. He attended the British International School, a school built not just on knowledge, but on status. The children of politicians, of CEOs, of legacy families. That was his classroom. And from a young age, Davido was reminded that he carried a name with history, a name with weight. By 16, he was sent back to the US to study business administration at the Oakwood University in Alabama. It wasn't a negotiation, it was the path laid out for him. You see, when you are born into legacy, your path isn't always your own. It is built for you, carved before you arrive. All you're asked to do is walk with it. But sometimes, the heart disagrees. At Oakwood, Davido was doing well. He was smart, focused. He had the good grades. But the music, it wouldn't leave him alone. Late at night, while his classmates slept or studied, he would be in the studio, crafting sounds, mixing beats. What started as a hobby, a release, began to grow teeth. It became a calling. At this point, he stopped going to classes, not because he couldn't keep up, but because he couldn't keep pretending. The beats were louder than the lectures. When his father found out, he was furious. This wasn't the plan. You don't drop out of school, not when you bear the name Adeleke. But Davido had made his choice. He left, moved to London for a while, but he promised himself one thing, that he wouldn't return to Nigeria unless he made it, unless the world knew Davido, not just as a billionaire's son, but as an artist. In the early days, he stayed low, produced tracks for his cousins, B-Red, Shinarambo, and MPZ. He didn't want to raise alarms at home. His family didn't support the idea of him becoming a singer. It was wanting to produce music in the background, but to hold the mic, that wasn't respectable. That wasn't the legacy. But there was a night in Atlanta, a moment that changed everything. He was in a club, the usual scene, loud music, dim lights, and then they walked in. P-Square, Don Jazzy, and One Deco. The whole place erupted, screams, lights flashing, all eyes on them. In that moment, Davido wasn't looking at celebrities. He was looking at power, presence, and purpose. And he said to himself, I want that. I have to become that. In 2011, he returned to Nigeria. He had an idea, a sound, a song. That October, he dropped Davido, a bold, electric, unapologetic record that didn't just introduce Davido, it announced him. Produced alongside Cheesy, Davido wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural moment. Within months, the video was everywhere, on TV, on the radio, on the streets. Davido had arrived. By 2012, he was collecting awards, 9 major ones that year. The best new act at the Nigerian Entertainment Awards. Suddenly, the son who disappointed the family became the pride of a nation. And then came the hits, like waves that never stopped crashing. From Aye, to If, to Fall, to Fire, to Blow My Mind, to Risky, to Assurance, and to Unavailable. He fused Afrobeat with pop, with high life, with global rhythm. His sound became infectious internationally. Davido wasn't just a Nigerian star. He was a global artist. He performed in sold-out venues, appeared on the FIFA World Cup soundtrack, and earned a Grammy nomination. But fame, as loud as it is never loud enough to drown out grief. Davido's life has not been without pain, and some of that pain came quietly. In 2003, he lost his mother, Veronica, to a heart attack. He was just 10 years old. She died on her husband's birthday, and from that day forward, Davido's birthdays were never the same. He's spoken of her often, not with bitterness, but with ache. He calls her his first true love. He still posts her photos, still remembers. In 2017, 2 of his closest friends died just days apart. First, it was Tabo Umuike, under mysterious circumstances after a night out. Then DJ Olu was found lifeless in a car in Lagos, and this was his personal DJ, his brothers. 2 caskets, 2 losses, 1 heart shattered twice. In 2021, the tragedies continued. Obama DMW, his road manager and right-hand man, died of heart failure after driving himself to the hospital. Davido was gutted. He called Obama his backbone, a constant. When his next album dropped, he named it Timeless because of that loss, that mourning, that need to make something permanent out of pain. And then, Fortune, his personal photographer, the man behind the lens. He drowned during a shoot, gone just like that. Each death felt and left a hole, but none as deep as one in 2022. His son, Ifeanyi David Adeleke Jr., just 3 years old. He died in the private pool at home. After that, Davido disappeared, went silent, no posts, no appearances, just absence. And when he returned months later, with the album Timeless. The world could hear it. The grief, the growth, the quiet cry behind the sound. Davido has lived in the public eye for over a decade, and one person who's been there through almost all of it is Chioma. Chioma Avery Rowland, a chef, media personality, and the woman behind his smile and his love song Assurance, which was released in 2018. They've had their ups and downs. They've had their public love, public pressure, paparazzis, and rumors. But through it all, they held on. After the loss of Jason, most thought they wouldn't recover, but they did, not just together, but stronger. And now, in August 2025, Davido and Chioma will marry in Atlanta, the city where it all began. Beyond the music, beyond the fame, Davido gives quietly and consistently. On his birthdays, instead of throwing lavish parties, he donates. In 2021, he gave 250 million naira to orphanages across Nigeria. In 2023, it was 237 million naira, supporting over 13,000 children. And in 2024, he gave another 300 million naira this time, adding a campaign against drug abuse among youths. Over 700 million naira given, not for applause, but for impact. He's also funded scholarships, supported hospital bills, given hope to people who will never attend his concerts, but who will remember his name. Davido is not just a musician. He is a story. A boy who ran from a legacy only to build a bigger one. A man who buried friends, family, and even his child, and still returned to the stage. A lover, a leader in sound, a vessel of joy, of grief, of purpose. He didn't choose the easy path, but he made it count, and in doing so, he became timeless.